Welcome today, everyone. We're going to be looking at breaking down the assignment brief for management and organizational behavior level 4. And the way I've split this down is to break it down into 4 questions that meet all the learning outcomes required by UCA. So the first question, it says to analyze how organizational culture, politics, and power influence individual and team performance. So these 4 questions are within a report format, and the number of words required by UCA is 1,500 words. So we give a word limit of 1,500 words plus or minus 10%, and it's going to be produced in a report format. So it will have an executive summary, a contents page, an introduction, and then the 4 main questions. So the first question says, analyze how organizations' culture, politics, and power influence individual or team performance. So here we, really need to break down, and get students in their work to define what is organizational culture, and then relate it to their case example. Because when they're explaining this in the assignment brief, they are required to use one company, which they can then relate these different principles to their one company. And it can be a big company, it can be a small company. Ideally, it's a company that students have worked in before. So it doesn't really matter where they've worked before, as long as they can apply it and understand the principle and apply it. So analyze is a key word here. Analyze means how one factor affects another. So that's important in the question, because how organizational culture, politics, and power influence individual or team performance. Because organizational behavior is about motivating people to get the most efficient and effective amount from their staff, being the biggest resource, so that you can maximize your efficiencies and your profit margins. So what we're required here in this question, for each question, because it's only 1,500 words, so for each question we're requiring approximately 350 words. 75, approximately 100 words for the introduction, 75 words for the conclusions and recommendations each, and then each of the main questions, 350 words. So let's break this down. Analyze how organizational culture, politics, and power. So really, you need to define what is organizational culture, what is organizational politics, and what is organizational power. And then you need to get students to define these, understand these in approximately 35 words in terms of the assignment brief, and then to apply it, each one, in terms of 50 words. So what is a definition of organizational culture? 35 words. And then to apply this to their own company and real life experience, 50 words. So that's 85 words. And the same thing for organizational politics. Define organizational politics, 35 words, and then apply it. And then the same for organizational power. What is organizational power? Define or explain. And then relate it with an example to your company examples. Each one of these are 85 words. And then state how they influence team or individual performance. How does organizational culture, politics, and power influence the effectiveness of individual or team performance in terms of getting the maximum efficiency out of your staff and in terms of producing, so you maximize your profits of the organization. So, 85 words each, that's approximately, 340 words with some leeway. So there you see, as you break it down, that's approximately 350 words for this question. So the second question says, evaluate how cultural and process theories of motivation techniques enable effective achievement of goals in an organization, in an organizational context. And again, this question is approximately 350 words. So in this question, you really need to break down and explain the different motivational theories. And we've looked at 4 motivational theories. You can use others if you like, but the ones I'm using are Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Hertzberg's two-factor theories, Douglas McGregor's X and Y theory, and Adams' equity theory. So I'm using 4 different motivational theories and techniques. And what we're really asking the students here to do is to, firstly, you need to explain what is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, what is Hertzberg's, two-factor theory, what is Douglas McGregor's X and Y theory, what is Adams' equity theory. So the students need to, you need to explain all of these to the students. When the students are writing the questions, you need to ensure that students write approximately, 35 words again, explaining, Hertzberg's Maslow's hierarchy of theory, and then 50 words to apply. And the same thing for Douglas McGregor's X and Y theory, 35 words to explain, 50 words to apply to their company example. Hertzberg's two-factor theory, explain 35 words, the students need to, and then relate it to their company example. And then obviously Adams' equity theory, explain in 35 words, and then apply it to their own company example. And again, 85 words broken down, 35 words for the explanation, 50 words for the application. And then you get 85 words for each, which totals to about 340 words. So it's give or take a little bit of leeway. You've got 350 words there approximately, giving some leeway for students. So that's the second question. And then the third question says to explain what makes an effective team as opposed to an ineffective team. And here you need to really look at the context, the composition, the work design, and the process. And you need to go into these in terms of the context. Are there adequate resources? Is there correct leadership? The composition of the teams, the size of the teams, the leadership style of the team, is it appropriate? The work design and the process. And again, in each of these, we're looking for approximately 35 words to explain the context, 50 words to apply it. 35 words to explain the composition, 50 words to apply. 35 words to explain what is the work design, 50 words to apply, 35 words to explain what the process is, and 50 words to apply it to your company example. And then the fourth question is apply concepts and philosophies of organizational behavior, within an organizational context in a given business situation. So the company that they're using, and the organizational kind of like philosophy or concepts, one that I use is path goal analysis. And path goal analysis is based on, determining the complexity of the task and the experience of the individual, which determines the leadership style that person wants the leader to adopt. And then the leader adopts that appropriately, if it's directive, if it's delegating, if it's working in teams together. So, if it's supportive or participative, so you need to look at the leadership style, which is dependent upon the complexity and experience of the person, which they then tell you, in essence, how they want you to lead them in order to best motivate them in the most efficient and effective way. So that again is 350 words. So in total, with the conclusions 75 words, recommendations 75 words, introduction 100 words, you're looking at approximately 1,500 words plus or minus 10%. So I hope that's helped. If you are unsure about any of this, please come back to me and I will go into further detail for you. So thank you for today, Mr. Ted.